Imagine this. You're standing at the edge of a roaring river, knowing on the other side lies everything you've dreamed of building. Investors, those gatekeepers of dreams, should be the ones building the bridge for you. Yet you see it crumbling, or worse, never even being constructed. Why does it feel like they are avoiding certain startups like you, even when the potential is screaming, "This is the future"? It's a cold wall in your face, a silent rejection that leaves more questions than answers. You're left wondering, what's wrong with your idea, your team, your pitch? But the truth is more brutal and sharper than 1,000 rejections. Investors are not avoiding some startups because those ideas are bad, or because founders don't hustle hard enough. They are avoiding them because the current system is broken to its core, and it's rigged in ways you might not even notice yet. Behind the polished suits and slick presentations lies something fierce and unspoken. The system values comfort, control, and conformity more than courage, originality, and the raw fire of true innovation. Investors are hunters for certainty, numbers, trends, safe bets. What they don't tell you is that they are terrified, deeply terrified of the unusual, the messy brilliance, the founders who don't fit in a neat box and certainly don't bow to the old rules. You see, the world loves to package progress into neat little narratives. The unicorns, the easy exits, the viral success stories. But true revolutionaries, those who dismantle norms instead of fitting into them, they're not prized. They're sidelined, dismissed, or worse, whispered about in boardroom back channels. Here lies the core of your frustration, because no one talks about this out loud. Many investors are quietly turning away from startups that actually have the guts to challenge the status quo. They don't want to back the founders who refuse to settle, who question everything, who aren't scared to burn bridges or torch traditions. These are the very people who could ignite new worlds. But you see, change terrifies those who feast on predictability. And so, investors, often soaked in habits forged 10 or 15 years ago, avoid the startups that don't model success the way they understand it. Your uniqueness, your rebellious spirit, your refusal to compromise becomes a red flag disguised as risk. They want what looks familiar, safe, digestible. Yet here's the raw, unfiltered truth. If you suit the mold, you're invisible, because the market is flooded with imitators. But if you don't suit it, you're invisible because the system won't open the gates. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't trap. Founders, you feel that burning inside? That tension? The restless refusal to stop until you change the game? That's your power, but it can't be wielded alone. This is not a world that cheers for the lone wolf. It's a world that mistakes your fierce independence for instability. You are not broken. The system is broken. So how do you break through? How do you turn the tables on this brutal game? The answer is not about playing by their rules, but about building your own battlefield, where their biases and fears don't control the narrative. First, understand that just having a killer product or an innovative idea isn't enough anymore. Investors aren't just betting on what you make, they're betting on who you are, the story you embody, and the ecosystem you build around yourself. The silent deal breaker is not technology, it's alignment. If you want to survive, thrive, and be funded, you must become a magnet for those who resonate with your fire. This means two hard things. 1, stop chasing every investor. That energy wastes you. Instead, be terrified and ruthless in choosing the few who actually get your vision, not just superficially, but to the bone. Those who see your chaos as creative gold, not disorder. Find those rare souls who value transformation over transaction. 2, build your own network that doesn't bend to rules set by traditional systems. The power lies in collaboration with the misfits, the misunderstood, and the relentless thinkers who refuse to be caged by comfort or convention. This network will become your lifeline when the old bridge collapses. It turns isolation into strength. Through these bonds, your misaligned brilliance finds alignment. Suddenly, the impossible feels close enough to grab. But there's deeper magic here. Investors crave stories because stories build trust. Yet the markets have been flooded with sanitized, polished narratives that sound all the same. If you want to stand out, you must become brutally honest, transparent, and yes, even vulnerable. Expose your struggles, your brutal realities, and your unwavering belief in your mission. This paradox is magnetic. It is in the raw human truth that connection happens, not in numbers on a spreadsheet. Many founders shy from this kind of radical openness because the world teaches you to hide flaws and fears. But the brutal authenticity is the key that opens doors that perfect pitch decks cannot. Scaling this kind of authenticity doesn't mean sacrificing professionalism or strategy. Quite the opposite. It means merging the heart and the mind so powerfully that you become unforgettable. Investors will notice when you're not just another startup chasing money, but a movement anchored by a fundamental belief that this isn't just a business. It's a revolution. A revolution that demands more than comfort or consensus. This is the rallying cry for those rare founders burning with a fire the world hasn't yet learned to control. Moreover, the biggest error founders make is to expect validation from the system's gatekeepers. This need for permission kills the wild spark inside you. You don't need them to start or succeed. The future belongs to those who build their own foundations, who create ecosystems where their vision doesn't need approval to exist. Investors will come once you become undeniable, but they don't give power. They amplify power that's already burning. Build your power relentlessly. Sharpen your will as your greatest weapon. Question everything, starting with the belief that funding equals success. Real success is sovereignty, being the master of your story, your mission, your future. You might feel alone, that edge where your ideas bleed and your spirit burns. But that is where everything new begins. The discomfort you feel is the breaking open of the cage. Stop apologizing for being different. Stop trying to convince those who refuse to see beyond the surface. Their loss, not yours. Instead, use that energy to find the few who are ready to burn just as hot as you. Align yourself fiercely, patiently. The power of long-game patience can't be underestimated because true freedom, the kind that doesn't fold to false stability, requires time, endurance, and ruthless clarity. This is a call to obliterate the illusion that comfort, consensus, or unanimous approval are marks of progress. Reject the narrative pouring from old playbooks and worn ideas. You are part of a fraction, small, fierce, fiery, and ready to rewrite reality itself. Investors may be secretly avoiding you, yes, but that avoidance is not a death sentence. It's a signal that you're standing at the frontier, in the space the tired system refuses to charter. That space, it is yours to claim. But it requires something brutal: total ownership of your mission, full resistance to systemized rejection, and alliance with those rare forces who will join you in shattering the old to build the new. What if the system's ignoring you is the greatest gift, the clearing for your breakthrough? Forget the idea of appealing to everyone. It's exhausting and empty. Instead, become magnetic to the few who burn fiercely, to the investors, founders, visionaries who don't just chase trends but create them. Together, these few are unstoppable. Separate pieces of a new order, bound by the fire of transformation, ready to unleash what the world wasn't ready for yesterday, but will have no choice but to embrace tomorrow. This is the moment when your why transcends the noise and the fear that follows rejection. You don't need to be everyone's choice. You need to be the irreplaceable force for the few who dare to follow. Investors aren't avoiding certain startups because of weakness. They're avoiding the force of true revolution because it unsettles everything they thought they knew. Your mission, your fire, your refusal to settle, that's the trouble you bring to the table. It's the kind of trouble that changes history. So hold that fire close. Fan it, fuel it, unashamedly. Stop begging for permission and start crafting your own infrastructure, networks, allies, stories, and power frameworks that don't require traditional validation. In this, you find your liberation. Investors will follow your flames, not the other way around. Because what they really want is not another safe bet, but the next impossible made inevitable by the relentlessness of a founder who burns to change the world. This is the edge where the brave thrive, not comfort, not consensus, but fierce individuality aligned with others who refuse to settle. This is where you belong. This is where the future waits for your fire.